Yo, top of the morning to you, wealth champions. It is the Daily Hustle, man. A very, very special edition of the Daily Hustle as we celebrate the life and legacy of the late, great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So I thought I'd share with you the evolution of a king. Three things that I admire about the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So, y'all know what it is, man. I'm your boy H Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur from wealthcreationplaybook.com. And the Daily Hustle is designed to uplift, motivate, encourage, and help you get your day started off on the right foot, which in my case, I believe is a positive foot. You should always start your day off with something positive. So, we're talking about the three things that I admire about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a clip of him doing an interview, and then I'm going to give you my three things that I admire most about the late great doctor. So let me hop over to that clip real quick and let you guys check that out.
What do you have in store for us this summer?
That's a good question. Well, I don't know about the summer. I guess I should begin with what we have in store for the spring. I feel that we are in the midst of a most critical period in our nation, and the economic problem is probably the most serious problem confronting the Negro community. And I might say the most serious problem confronting poor people generally. And I don't want to be narrow about this, talking only about the black poor in our country, because I must be concerned about Puerto Ricans who are poor, Mexican Americans, American Indians, and Appalachian whites. And we are confronting a major depression in the poor community. And I think the time has come to bring to bear the power of the direct action, the nonviolent direct action movement on the basic economic conditions that we face all over the country. Nonviolence has been a tremendous force in grappling with the social problem of legal segregation and the syndrome of deprivation surrounding that system. And of course it has been a major force in grappling with the political problem of the denial of the right to vote. But in winning victories like the Civil Rights Bill of '64 and the Voting Rights Bill of 1965 around the issue of segregation and voting rights, we discovered that these legislative strides did very little to improve the lot of the millions of Negroes in the ghettos of the North and in the nation generally. In other words, it did very little to penetrate the lower depths of Negro deprivation in communities all over.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I thought that clip for me was very fascinating. And that's one of the things that I admire about Dr. King. As we get into these three things, I'm just going to give you my take on that clip, and not only that one, but others that I've had. And that clip, thenation.com, and that was on Belafonte Tonight, which was a popular TV show with the great Harry Belafonte as well. But you heard in that clip that part of the evolution of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is he started to look at the economic conditions of America. And I think that is one of the most impressive things about me. Sometimes it is hard for leadership to evolve. And I am very impressed that you even heard him in that clip say that after the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act were signed, he realized that it had very little impact on the lives of the people at the very bottom. So, one of the first things that I admire about Dr. King is um, his ability and willingness to take a stance. Even in this clip, he talked about his nonviolent movement. And I want to encourage you today that you have to stand for something. You have to draw a line in the sand. And he did. His line was, we're going to affect change in this world with a non-violent stance, no matter how violent the opposition gets with us, right? And that was a bold stance. Um, a one that threatened his life and the life of those who followed him, but a stance that he stood by. And all the way up until his death, it was all about affecting change in a non-violent way. So I think that is something huge to admire about anybody, even if you don't agree with the stance. There's just something about the person who willing to take a stance and lay their life on the line. And I think so many people want to remain vanilla and not pick a side because they want to please everybody. And I used to be this way. And to a degree, I still don't like confrontation. So I want to uh, appease everybody, but at some point, you're going to have to pick a side. And a great leader has to define that line in the sand, define that stance, and stick to it. So that's one of the things that I admire about the late great Dr. Martin Luther King. The other thing that I admire about him is his leadership, um, and his skills and leadership in general. I don't know if there was a more driven and determined person as it relates to hitting the goal of bringing um, inclusion for minority people, not only in the U.S. but all around the world. And if you think about that, it took a whole lot of determination to make those strides. So, driven determination. Um, the other mark of a great leader is the ability to continue to set new goals once one has been achieved. And right up until the end of his life, that's what he had always done. So he went from civil rights to voter registration, and then he was looking at the poor people's movement and what he could do and how he could affect change to better the lives and the conditions and the economic stability of the poor among us. And as a leader, I don't care whether you're leading a movement like Dr. King or whether you're just a father or a mother leading your family, you have to have goals. And when you achieve those goals, you have to constantly be setting new goals. I think it is safe to say that Dr. King realized that, to quote Miley Cyrus, right? She has a song that I like called It's the Climb, right? It's not about getting to the peak, it's the climb, it's the journey. And to once you hit one peak or once you hit one goal, then setting a new goal keeps you on that climb. And I think that happens to keep people young as well, striving for goals. And then last but not least, I think uh, the mark of a great leader is the ability to admit when you are wrong. And not that Dr. King admitted or thought that it was wrong to fight for the civil rights of disenfranchised people, not that he felt that it was wrong to fight for voters' rights and our ability to participate unhindered in the process, the political process. But I think what he recognized as he got, through some of those challenges and achieved some of those goals, is that while those things were important, I think what he realized is that the economic plight perhaps should have been a fight that should have come first beyond some of those other fights. And at least that's what I took from the clip, as well as some of the other clips that you may have seen him talking about his dream maybe even being a nightmare, and that he may have integrated into a burning building. Nevertheless, if you are going to lead your family, if you're going to step up and be a leader in your community, you are absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, going to have to take a stance and be willing and able to communicate that stance to those that you are seeking to follow you. You're going to have to be able to set goals and push your agenda to hitting those goals. And when you hit one goal, you have to be able to set a new goal with the same vigor and attack that new goal with the same vigor and determination as you did the first. And then if you find yourself in a situation where you've made some wrong decisions, or you didn't like the outcome of some of the things that you have done, you can't be afraid to admit that, hey, you could have done some things differently. And those are three things that I admire about the late great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I just wanted to share my thoughts on that as we celebrate the King holiday on this day. So that's what it is, man. Do me a huge favor if you've gotten any value out of today's message, and also comment below one of the things that you admire about the late great Dr. Martin Luther King as well. I would love to hear from you as well. So don't be afraid to drop your comment below. But also, if you got any value out of today's Daily Hustle, go ahead and hit the like button on this page. Hit the like button on the video itself. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification so you don't miss a single thing as we continue to try to uplift and affect change in our communities through this video series. Also, since we are seriously considering economic empowerment as a basis of affecting change in our communities, if you have not already gotten your copy of the Wealth Creation Playbook, then I want you to do that. Go over to wealthcreationplaybook.com, download your free copy, and then also check out our Instant Pay Raise video series. We're showing everyday working people that, according to the IRS, 150 million people are overpaying taxes every single year. That's money that you could be using to build generational wealth with, and we'll show you how to get that money back on your paycheck. So wealthcreationplaybook.com to download your free copy of that book. And then last but not least, man, again, click on my picture in the circle if you want to subscribe to this channel. Click on the video below if you want to continue to learn from this channel. Until I talk to you guys next time, I want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle.